Hopefully everybody can hear my voice and my guitar. Let's check the settings here. Everything looks good. Just playing a little guitar for you. And yeah, just to let everybody come in here and all that good stuff. So, yeah, you like that echo? What about now? Can you hear me now? Pretty sure you can hear the guitar. Can you hear my voice though? A lot of comments there all at once. StreamYard tripping. So, y'all bear with me. I think I'm a little under the weather. I had to go out and get some supplies because it's, I think most of the country, or at least half the country, is in for some spooky weather this weekend. So I'm getting ready to hunker down. Had to go get a few, some of those essentials like bratwurst, beer, and all that good stuff. So, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Raul. Lobo Bob. Wolf Bob. Wolf Robert. Thanks. So, yeah, I saw this quote one time. Yeah, so, yeah, bear with me. Sorry. Thanks, guys. And happy holidays to you. I saw this quote, I think it was by Alan Holdsworth, and he said he loves delay and he hated reverb because guitar is a little hotter than the voice. Yeah, normally. It's really hot right now because of that, I think because of that super hot verb I've got on there. The level is up pretty high. But he said Alan Holdsworth said he hated reverb and he loved delay, and the reason was because delay adds space and reverb adds distance. And so I thought about that. That really hit me hard because I had just recently done a session, a remote recording session for a friend who wanted to do like this guitar trade at the end of a tune where he and I were both trading off solos, just taking turns with licks. And when he went to mix mine, I had this lush, dreamy sound that I really loved. It sounded really good in the studio. But when he mixed it with all the other stuff that he was putting in the recording, he said it was really hard to get my leads to stand out properly just because it was so saturated. And to me, it sounded really good. So, I had to admit that I didn't know everything. Every time I do something, it's like a humbling experience, including these live streams. So I don't know if you guys feel that way as guitarists, but man, everything I do musically just humbles me more. So I don't know. I guess that's good. It encourages us to keep practicing and getting better. But so I had to take a step back and really analyze that. And this is not necessarily Helix or any particular product related, so sorry about that, but I am going to be using Helix and some lush stuff to talk about what I'm discussing here. I was like, well, why does it sound so good when I'm doing it here, and why do I like it so much? Because I would do reverb and delay. Now, maybe not this particular reverb that I just had. This is the Glitz reverb, and I've got it cranked up to like some crazy levels here. And it's such a good reverb, man, and it's just addictive. So it's so easy to get carried away with this stuff. But I think, you know, I was always into adding just a bit of reverb and a bit of delay together when I played live anyway. And for a while I thought I had it going pretty well. And then I got carried away with the reverb and stuff because, you know, with something like Helix, there's just so much good reverb on there. You get carried away with it. So I realized that having all this reverb gives you all, and delay, but, you know, it gives you all this sustain, and it kind of covers up some of your slop when you're playing, and so I think we get used to that. And then you put it in a mix with a band, and depending on how much stuff is going on, you can kind of Adriatic delay and particle verb. I love it. I love the particle verb. But you know, you get all this extra sustain and stuff, and what ends up happening is it gets washed out if you use too much of it. So I just thought that would make an interesting topic, because sometimes I struggle to come up with topics for these live streams. So I thought that was interesting, and so those of you that are sticking around and hanging out, I appreciate it. And so I just kind of created a patch last night with a few different reverbs and delays, and I've got them running parallel. So, you know, I can just kind of go through each of them and discuss kind of, you know, or just give examples of how they sound and things like that. So, you know, so reverb adds distance and delay adds space. So to me, the most important thing to have is space, because we want that sustain. And, you know, I guess the more distortion you use, the more of a problem it all becomes. So, like, I've got this glitch reverb just really, really cranked up. And I'm going to mute this mic for a second, because I don't know, sometimes I think they bleed over too much. So, you know, Paul, you can't hear my guitar? Hold on. Why is that? Okay. Do you hear any voice or any guitar now? Raphael, can you hear me now? Echo on voice. Well, I don't know why that is, man. Maybe it's just StreamYard. Voice is back, but very wet with effects and very low. I don't know, man. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why. Tell you what, I'm just gonna use. If you can hear my voice, I know you can hear my guitar now because I've just got a room mic on. So if that works, let me know what you hear now. And if not, I guess we'll just have to hear me with a delay for the rest of the day. And you can hear my guitar because there's a room mic. Yeah, okay. Well, I was trying to give y'all a direct signal from my Helix, but I guess it's just not, it doesn't seem to be working. So I don't know, man. It's hard running all these gadgets. But we'll just do it like this. Hopefully it sounds okay. I've already lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so the amp I'm using, so you guys can see it. I'm using this Grammatico, which is the Grammatico Jump. I just think that's a really good sounding amp. But you know, if I turn this delay or this reverb off, there's not a lot of distortion happening there. So, and it's a guitar by itself. You know, it's just a solo guitar. So you can kind of get away with having all this reverb. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I think the direct guitar sounds amazing too, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get both to come out. And I restarted my computer before I did this, so I don't know, man. It's always something with StreamYard. So that sounds pretty good when you're by yourself, but if you're trying to put that into the mix of a song with like a full band going and stuff, I just, you know, it would work on some things like this, you know, like the kind of like the worship music, the modern stuff, what is it, a CCM, when you have like these. You know, but that's just a single note. So it's going to be too much if you start getting in here and trying to shred and all that. So, you know, that doesn't really work. So maybe some simple delay would be a better choice for something like this. So you'll notice I turned that reverb off, and I've just got the simple delay, and I feel like I have it dialed into what I think is kind of a magical setting as far as just having some good sustain on your overall guitar tone using delay. So let's see right here, 360 milliseconds, and you can probably give or take a few there. And so the feedback is a little higher than I would normally, you know, want to use. A lot of times I'll set this to a quarter note, but then I'll back off on the feedback quite a bit, you know, like maybe down to 20%, which is cool. And then you can add like a slight bit of reverb in there as well. That's probably too much. I can turn the mix down. See, I've got this dynamic hall reverb. But if I put that mix down to about 20% and maybe bring the decay up a little bit. decay on that. That's the dynamic hall reverb. That's one of the newer ones. I love that reverb. So this is a pretty good amount that you could probably safely get away with if you're playing with a full band. This digital delay sounds really good too. Although I've got way too much of it in there. Yeah, let's bring this mix down about to 20% again. Maybe the feedback down to 20% as well. Now this is set to 751 milliseconds right now. So I don't know. That's pretty good, but maybe a little quicker. Let's try 600. And now what I'm hearing now is like a matter of the pre-delay. Actually, I'm going to turn this room size up to 30 on the dynamic hall again. I'm thinking maybe the pre-delay could come down. So I've got such a small amount of reverb that I can bring the pre-delay down to 0. But if you have more of it, so if we maybe bring the decay up to like 7.4, maybe bring the mix up. Now we're more at risk of getting lost, in that sea of reverb. Sounds pretty good, but again, I'm just playing by myself, so it may not sound as good if there was a band going. Although I will say this too: if there's only one guitar, you can get away with more of all those effects. Also, it kind of compensates if you've only got one guitar and no keys or no rhythm guitar. Then it's always better to have more of all this good stuff. Oh, that's such a great reverb, man. So what happens if we start turning up the gain on our amp? possibly. And maybe even adding some distortion in there. So let's see. How's this amp set? Drive. So this is the jumped Grammatico. So, you know, the drive is halfway on both, but we can start. That sounds really good. It's really hard to find anything wrong with how this sounds. So let's add some just straight up distortion to it. Maybe this compulsive drive. This sounds really good. Hear that little bit of delay in there too. I've got the digital delay, and let's see, 20% feedback, 20% mix, 600 milliseconds. So that's a good number. Stuff that I think should sound bad, and it just doesn't sound bad. So let's do some more goofy stuff. How about this Adriatic Swell? This is a cool delay because the delays they swell in, and you probably have to. Let's see, how much do we have? Yeah. Maybe if I turn the reverb off, can you guys hear that? It's pretty subtle. That's trippy. That Adriatic Swell delay is so cool. You don't really need any reverb with that, I don't think. With this much high gain that I have going on, it just takes care of all of it. I really like that. Because the delays, they swell in, so it softens up the attack anyway. Awesome. And you guys are probably hip to the auto swell feature as well, which I've got in here. And that's actually a compressor, but having that in there, I like to just play with that on because it's not intuitive enough to really make each note swell or each chord. You have to kind of time it just right. But if you just leave it on, it gives an overall softening of the attack of whatever you're doing. Maybe we can throw in a bit of this dynamic hall. What about this shimmer reverb? That's a cool one too. So I'm really loving what I've got going here. I've got the Adriatic Swell delay. Thank you, Francis. I always like to post this kind of stuff. Thank you. And hello, Christoph. Line 6, great amps. Thanks, Bobby. Bobby! Yeah, and I guess we finally got the audio stuff, the bugs worked out. But yeah, I've got the Adriatic Swell, so it's making all the delays swell into each other. They're not real harsh. I've got the auto swell going on here as well, which, like I said, is really just a compressor set a certain way. And then I've got the shimmer reverb. So, and this one here is a, you got to be careful what you play with this too, but it sounds really cool for. Let's get rid of some of that distortion. How that auto swell is making everything kind of, some of the notes don't quite make it in there, or they come in late but they swell in, so gives it the false impression that you've got a really nice touch, but it's the effects. I hate to admit that, but that's what's going on here. Glitch is a bit too much with all this other stuff. How about cave reverb though? Back to the dynamic hall. Still using the Adriatic Swell. What else we got? Here's a cool one. But you see, that's just too much for a lot of fast playing. So that's basically all I was pointing out with this whole thing, is just the difference in reverb and delay, and you don't want to always use them together. So if I was going to play just some lead stuff with a lot of gain, I'd probably just use the Adriatic Swell. So yeah, this is a cool patch. I don't know if anybody would be interested in having this patch. it's just got all these reverbs and delays in it. But if you guys want, just leave a comment and I'll go post it to the custom tone page if you're interested. But anyway, thank you guys for sticking in with me here for another year. This is the last one you'll see of me for 2022. Probably the last one of the year, period, because I think a lot of people are going to be out on vacation next week. Might be out this week. But thank you guys for hanging out with me as I use up my very last idea for the year. And yeah, stay safe. It's supposed to get pretty. It probably is already pretty stormy out there in some places of the country, like the Midwest. Looks like you guys are getting some scary weather. We're gonna get some here in Tennessee tonight too. So I'm getting ready to go batten down the hatches. But thank you guys for hanging out. Go check me out on Instagram. Give me a follow. And yeah, TC here signing off for 2022. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you guys, thank you all, and see you in 2023.